Hello, conservation of biodiversity. Biodiversity is the degree of variation of life forms in an ecosystem. You know, our ecosystem is comprised of abiotic and biotic factors as we have studied earlier. So, biodiversity is a degree of variation of life forms. We have variety of organisms living with us. Biodiversity is essential to maintain ecological stability. So, biodiversity, why is it so important? Because it is essential to maintain the stability. So, now let us see one example. If all the tigers are one day extinct, what will happen? The deers will be increased. If deers will be increased, then they will start grazing more. Then grazing more will obviously will be affected on the flora on which they ingest. And if the flora is being disturbed, when what about the other organisms? Isn't it? So one organisms can affect the whole ecosystem. The extent of complexity and density of biodiversity can be regarded as a measure of health of ecosystem. So it also important for health of ecosystem. Population explosion and overexploitation of resources have resulted in loss of biodiversity at an alarming rate. So now, students, you can see that lot of area now where we are living are now plottings are going on. The forest cover is now becoming agricultural land. Now even the agricultural land, it is being that it is being converted into non-agricultural area, and the buildings are being seen there. So it is giving an alarming rate of, that is, loss of biodiversity. It is not good. As seen as students, if in the agriculture the various organisms are dependent, such as there are frogs, there are earthworms, so it also affects a lot. Conservation involves attempting to slow down, stop, or even reverse of loss in natural habitat of organisms. So, this is known as in situ conservation. Why does the loss of biodiversity matter? So, I've explained in the previously that how one tiger or the population of one tiger can affect a whole ecosystem. For many people, it is a simple moral or ethical issue. We share our planet with huge range of other organisms and we have no right to harm them as we are not the boss. Okay. You know, see now how a single coronavirus, it is so minute, it is so tiny, but it is taking our lives, isn't it? Biodiversity helps to maintain stability of an ecosystem. Loss of one variety of organism can affect the entire ecosystem. Museums. Museums are the places where collection of preserved plant and animal species specimens are kept. So you can see museums at various places. Even in the 11th 12th lab, you can see that the preserved plants and animals are kept as specimens. Plants and animal specimens may be preserved in formalin 10% to 40% formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is nothing but a preservative substance. So its range is like 10% formalin and 90% of water, or 40% of formaldehyde and 60% of water. In transparent jars, jars are labeled. Larger animals like birds and mammals are usually stuffed and preserved. So you can see that the internal organs are being cut and only the feathers and these all things are there, and it is usually stuffed. This science is known as taxidermy. So this science, the word taxidermy is very important. It may come in the fill in the blanks. Specimens in dried for form are also kept in museum. So you can see dry specimens are also kept in the museum. We can even find systematic collection of shells, skeleton of animals, insect boxes in museums. Thus, biological museums in educational institutes are reference hubs of biodiversity studies. So in this picture you can see that a lot of things are being kept and the students are watching this, and these are the biological museums.